A rite of passage used to be a highly valued event back when we used to live in tribes. Usually when a young boy within a tribe reached a certain age, he was sent into the wilds to go kill and retrieve an animal back to his tribe. If he would fail to do so, he would not be respected within the tribe, and he would be still seen as a young little boy, somebody who they couldn't rely on to get the work done. So this young man's life depended on it. If he crumbled in that moment when he was out in the wild, and if he never returned, then they would assume that he had died, and he would not have the strength to one day lead a tribe, to lead a family, to make the necessary sacrifices. So everything depended on him succeeding. The respect that he was going to get from his elders, the respect he was going to get from his father, even the reputation of his family. All depended on that young man. He had a huge responsibility to take on, and young men back in that time all looked forward to doing that. They were looking forward to finally prove themselves and gain the trust and gain the respect of that of their elders and their tribe, and as a result build their way up in their own life to become successful leaders. Nowadays, young men run away from their responsibilities. They complain when they got to do the chores. When a challenge appears in their lives, they would rather ignore it, run away from it, and hope that it never returns. And still, they crave some sort of respect, but they're not willing to do that what it takes to gain it. When they don't get respected, they scream and shout like little kids who didn't get their cookie, because they think that they can just get it like this. They even disrespect their elders, because they think they know better than them. It's a shame, and it has to change. Respect is earned, and so in today's day and age, we must do that what is necessary to go through our own rite of passage. And this has to be promoted, because it's not happening enough. So in this video, I want to give you a couple of tips that you can do and implement on how you can go through your own rite of passage to gain the respect of other people, to respect yourself, and feel like you are building towards something in your own life. So the first thing we're going to do is have you set a goal for yourself. You need to have a clear intention of what you want to do and where you want to go. So write it down. And now make yourself the promise that you will do whatever it takes for you to get there, regardless of the difficulties, regardless of how challenging it will be, regardless of all the doubts that you will gain while in the process of getting there. Because the first thing that you will go through is that you will face challenge and adversity. You have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations because they push you past your limits. They push you past your fears, and they get you to see the truth for who you really are. And it's only after you persevere through those uncomfortable moments is that you get to grow. The first time that I got really introduced properly to adversity is when I was watching a Joe Rogan podcast of this UFC fighter called GSP, Georges St-Pierre. Forgive me if I butchered your name. It was the first time that I got introduced to the concept of adversity. And he was talking about that you have to put yourself into uncomfortable situations because fighters do this often. And fighters only get to grow when they push past the mental barriers that they are suffering through. And we as men have to do the same thing for ourselves in our own lives. Like we have to choose things that we don't really feel like doing, that we are afraid of doing, and still do them, despite of how we feel towards it. So if I reflect this back on my own journey of going through adversity, I had the opportunity to take on a leadership role, and I had declined. I had declined it in the past because I was afraid of my skills. I was afraid that I was not going to succeed, that I was going to crumble, that I was going to look like a fool in front of everybody else. I was going to have a mental breakdown in front of everybody, and that I would have to crawl back from that and then work a job that was lesser than my capabilities. But still, I decided to do that because the thing is, the reason why I was so afraid is because I had already worked jobs in the past, and I already had a reputation of quitting jobs when things were getting too difficult. There was once this difficult scenario that I was in with this co-worker, and he pissed me off so hard that I had a mental breakdown. I couldn't go to work. I was having such negative and dark thoughts of things that I was going to do to him, and I couldn't control myself. And I had to step back, and then I had to slowly reintroduce myself then again into the workforce, and I started working part-time again. Before I got hired as a part-time player, they asked me, don't you want to be a supervisor because you have the capabilities to do that? We know you already personally because the manager that I had back then already knew me for a couple of years, and he knew what I was capable of, and he wanted me as a supervisor, working directly under him, being able to lead a team when he was managing other administrative tasks. And I declined. I said, no, let me work part-time. And then the district manager, who already saw me working part-time, already took me to the side and said, why are you not going for a supervisor role? You are more than capable to succeed. You have the skills. You have the mindset. You can do so much and yet you're not doing it. Why is that? And I told him yeah, I don't want to do it because I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I will get back into a slump, get back into a rut and lose my shit. And he understood, and then he never asked me again. And I was like going through social anxiety. I was afraid of crumbling. I was afraid of looking like a fool. But then eventually I did take on a leadership role at a different job, still in the same sector, which was retail. And I still did it despite the fear that I had, despite everything that I was going through, because I knew that I couldn't remain to live this way. And trust me, there were many times that I sat in the bathroom stall, just trembling, shaking, like almost having a mental breakdown. The times that I woke up in the morning and thought to myself, oh fuck, I gotta go back and I gotta do this. I have to confront my insecurities, I have to confront my fears. I have to stand in front of a group of 10 people and give them a meeting. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I have to invent something in the moment and just yap in front of them. I still did that. I did that for hundreds of hours. But it still came with a huge price that I had to pay. I had to stand in front of my own truth. And I had to overcome my thoughts. I had to overcome my limitations. I had to overcome my fears. So that's why it starts with challenge and adversity. That is the first step for you to go through your own rite of passage. And that whole experience made me better. The whole experience made me become a very strong individual, like stronger than I was before. I still got a long way to go, of course, but I'm so grateful that I did that. And even with these YouTube videos, I get challenged dramatically. Like the amount of times that I want to give up, that I want to crumble, that I just want to turn off the camera, turn off my computer and just lie in bed and just hope that this fades away. But I know that it won't. I know that I have to do this because I've been exposed to what it does to me once. And I know that if I persevere, that if I continue to go, that I will succeed in that what I want to do. But it's just the uncomfort, the discomfort that I have to go through. And you have to decide for yourself what that is for you. Now, the second part of this is that you need mentorship and guidance. You have to humble yourself. You have to accept that you know shit, that you are not as good as you think you are, and that you can always be guided by somebody else who has already more experience than you. Like, this is an amazing thing for you to do. I remember when I was working in retail, going for that leadership job, I was looking up to my manager and I was asking a lot of questions, and I almost blindly followed on what she was telling me to do. Why? Because she had authority. She knew what needed to be done. She had been already in that store for 20 years. She has so much experience. She has seen so much. So yeah, it is for me to shut the hell up and to soak up all the information and experience that she has and that she shares with me, because it's going to help me to get a better perspective, and it's going to help me to become a better leader for the team that I have to lead of 13 people. Like, it's a very humbling experience. And even till this day, I still look for mentors. I still try to learn from other people. I could be arrogant and say, no, I'm not going to learn from other people. I know everything already. That is not true. There's always something that you can improve on. So you have to find for yourself, what is your constraint? What is it that I got to grow on? And then find somebody who can teach you how to overcome it. Like, there's a reason why I read books like The War of Art, The Compound Effect, Ego is the Enemy, Hard Times Create Strong Man, The 48 Laws of Power, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There's a reason why I pay money for mentors, because I don't know everything and I can still learn. And I wish to a degree that I didn't need to do this, but that is my ego that's talking, and we gotta silence the ego. Because even if you still become a leader, like even if you still achieve the goal that you want, you can still learn. Like, look at the presidents of the world. They still have people who they listen to and who they take advice from. They still have, like, how can I say it? They still have mentors. There was like this band Metallica, I think, and the lead guitar player for many years still took on classes from somebody who knew how to play better guitar than him. And it allowed him to further develop his skill, even though he was breaking records with his band, even though they were succeeding, he still had the humility to be a student and to learn more. You have to be a student. You have to remain to be a student, because the more you learn, the better you will become. You have to accept that you are really not that good as you think you are, and continue to have this mindset for the rest of your life. Arrogance leads you nowhere, and when you don't learn, you only degrade your quality of life. Now, the third thing that I want to share with you is that you have to self-reflect on your journey. You have to self-reflect on the decisions that you make. This is something that I used to do, which I stopped doing for a while, and that I started doing again, because I analyzed myself. I sat down and I asked myself the question, what was the thing that brought me the most leverage when it came to knowing whether or not I was making a good decision, whether or not I was growing and making progress. And that was because I was every night sitting down, every evening, writing down, what did I do well? What did I learn today? What could I improve on? And what can I do to get better in what I'm doing? By being brutally honest with myself asking myself these questions. And then, like, literally, by being honest to myself, writing down what I did wrong, what I could have done better, seeing a pattern that, oh man, I've been making the same mistake for 3 days again. I have to change this. What do I got to do? And then using that insight to develop myself. And I'm still doing this every day. I have to do this every day. Because if I don't, I lose track of the progress that I'm making. I lose track of where I'm going. And I then don't break through in order to become the person that I want to be. So sit down tonight and ask yourself just this question. What did I learn today that will help me tomorrow? No, actually, sit yourself down tonight and ask yourself this question. Did I complete the task that I wanted to do today? And be brutally honest. Be brutally honest. And do this for 1 week. And see if you're still making the same decision, like the same mistake over and over again for 7 days straight or 2 days straight. Doesn't matter how many days. Because if that's the case, then that is something that you must change. And that is the greatest leverage that you can have on developing yourself. Like in the year of 2022, I was so ruthless in this. Sitting myself down every evening, every week also, and then every month, reflecting on the mistakes that I had made. And then I had like a clear list of things that I needed to improve, and I attacked them. I was ruthless in them. I did them. I did that was what was necessary. And that allowed me also to become a better leader for my team. Because I knew what I was doing wrong and I knew what I needed to improve. Because I would get so pissed off if I saw myself making the same mistake over and over again in 1 week. I had to change something, and those emotions allowed me to change. Those emotions allowed me to take action. It also teaches me one valuable thing, and that is necessary for you if you want to become a strong man. And that is self-accountability. You have to be self-accountable. And by witnessing that what you are writing down, you get like this insight on yourself, because only you know this. And you know that if you ignore this aspect of you, that you are holding yourself back from achieving your goal. Like some people want an accountability partner. You can be your own accountability partner. But you just have to accept one thing first and foremost. And that is that you have to be brutally honest with yourself. And you know that when you are dishonest with yourself, there are 2 paths that you can take. You will either feel really guilty, and because the fact that you feel really guilty, you will then want to avoid that feeling. So in order to avoid that feeling, you can go down 2 paths, and that is to change it and be better, to not feel guilty, or you could ignore it ruthlessly and see your life declining and wonder, why is my life not going forward? Well, because you are lying to yourself. You are lying about that what you have to improve on. You're pretending to be someone that you're not, but then again, the truth will prevail, and it will be shown to you that that thing that you are ignoring is exactly the thing that you have to do. Other people will catch up on that, and they will not trust you, and they will not rely on you. They know like, oh, Mark, I can't trust him because he says he was going to do something, but he doesn't. He says that he's emotionally strong, but then he suddenly has a mental breakdown right in front of me. Like, what the hell, you know? And so with reflecting on yourself every evening and taking action, despite on how uncomfortable it is, and keeping a promise to yourself that you become self-accountable. I promote this practice heavily because you can't run away from the truth. You'll have to accept what you lack, and you must come to the terms that you can improve and that you have to persevere. Then there was a pattern. The times that I didn't grow in my life was because I stopped doing this practice. And as a bonus for you sticking around till the end of the video, there's a link in the description box that you can click, and it's a template of questions that you can use every evening to self-reflect on yourself. Because I'm telling you, this has been the main thing that has helped me to develop, by being brutally honest to myself and self-reflecting, being accountable, keeping that promise to myself and going again. So I want to wish you a very nice day. And remember that you are 100% responsible for the results in your life. Make the hard decision today, and I'll see you in the next one. All right? Bye-bye.